I'll be sharing an Italian recipe for a chickpea and pasta soup that comes from the region of Puglia, which is where my grandfather was born, and it's a recipe that comes from a cookbook that a nephew of his gave me. So, step one is you're going to want to get a big pot of water boiling, 3.5 liters, which is also pretty close to 3.5 quarts. While that's boiling, you'll want to chop into tiny pieces an onion, 2 carrots, and 3 stalks of celery. Once you've chopped up the onion, carrots, and celery, you're going to go ahead and add that to your boiling water along with 2 sprigs of parsley. And then you're going to cover that and let it stay at a low boil for about an hour. The recipe I was following actually didn't indicate how much salt to use, so you can either salt to taste at the end, or if you want, you can add a little bouillon to the boiling water. In the meantime, you'll chop up 1 more onion, a clove of garlic, and also chop up 10 basil leaves. If you don't have fresh basil, then you can substitute dried. And you're also going to wash and peel 2 potatoes. Chop one of them diced, and the other one simply chop into quarters. Next, you'll add 3 tablespoons of olive oil to a big saucepan, and then you're going to add the onions, the garlic, and the basil, and saute that until the onions are translucent. So once your onions are looking nice and translucent, you're going to go ahead and add the chickpeas. The original recipe called for 250 grams of dried chickpeas, which if you use them dried, you'll soak them in water overnight. But I opted instead just to use a single can of chickpeas. So you'll add those. And then after that, you'll add in your potatoes. Along with some tomato paste, and follow that up with carefully adding the broth that you've been simmering. And once you do that, you're going to cover it all. While you'll cover it, you'll add a nice good dose of ground black pepper, and then put on a cover and let it simmer over low heat for about 2.5 hours. So it's a pretty long recipe, so a good one to make when you're home on a weekend day, and you can just sit and let that simmer and make your house smell beautiful. So once the 2 hours have gone by, you'll go scoop out those big quarters of potato. And then you're going to mash those. And then add them back into the broth. And that will help give it a nice, thick and hearty texture. Okay, so you'll stir those back in, and then add your pasta. And the recipe calls for about 1/3 of a pound of the orecchiette. By the way, that means in Italian little ears, which you could see by the shape of them. It's sort of a cute name for pasta. So you'll go ahead, add those in, and then bring it back up to enough of a boil to cook your pasta. Once your pasta is cooked al dente, go ahead and serve it with a little more freshly ground black pepper. And the recipe also calls for un giro di olio, which literally means a round of oil. So you'll take your oil and top it off. There's an expression in Italian which says, "Sette cose fa la zuppa," and that means soup does 7 things. It relieves your hunger, quenches your thirst, fills your stomach, cleans your teeth, makes you sleep, helps you digest, and colors your cheeks. So enjoy your minestrone di ceci e orecchiette.